Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Just before I start, just by a show of hands, is there anyone else in the audience from the African continent? See Mildred over there from Cameroon. Okay, that might be necessary for me to explain the concept of Africa time. I don't know if anyone's encountered the term Africa time. Probably the best way to explain it would be if I asked you the question, how long would it take to eat an elephant? That's all. That's the question. Now, the answer to that could vary vastly depending on a number of factors, probably most notably how many people you have, what your resources are, etc. Africa time is similar. Given a given time or a given deadline, the actual time is hugely variable. It could be anything from a day to a year, depending on the resources and the thing put behind it. The only problem is you will not necessarily know the resources put behind it. So, that's important why. When I mention certain timelines in my presentation, bear in mind it's according to Africa time. I'm talking about Africa here. So it's an important factor to bear in mind when you're dealing with Africa at the moment, especially with IP-related matters. It is according to Africa time, which places a responsibility on you, the applicant, to make sure things run according to plan as well. So bear that in mind. Second thing, anyone in the audience from China? That's a pity. So we'd love you to speak to them afterwards and find out what they know, what a lot of other people don't know, because China is investing heavily in Africa and is also exploiting intellectual property rights in Africa, more so than a lot of other countries. They're not exclusive, but they are definitely taking a huge interest in the African continent. Thirdly, I'd just like to thank my colleagues from Germany in particular, Stefan and Stefan. A lot of the intellectual property rights and laws throughout the African continent are based to a very large extent on those of Europe. And in many countries, we follow the decisions of the European courts very closely. So what I will not do is delve into the details of the legal systems in all 54 of the African countries. I think something that you can take home with you is if something in the ICT industry will be patentable or patent eligible in Europe, chances are that it will also be patent eligible in most African countries. Ultimately, you'll have to make a decision on which countries you want to enter and find out the specifics of the laws in those countries. So what I'm going to try and do today is, to an extent, just inform you of some of the exciting ICT-related developments that's happening on the African continent, and just excite you about Africa as much as we are excited about Africa as Africans. A lot of growth in the next 10, 20, 30 years will come from the African continent. It is the one place, they don't call it the dark continent for nothing. It is unexploited to a large extent. There's a huge amount of resources and a lot will happen. Just looking at the size of the continent, I've tried to fit in a few other big countries just on the African continent, and you see the entire China, United States, India, Eastern Europe, France, Spain, Germany, Italy, UK, Japan. They all fit size-wise within the African continent. So, only point being, it is a massive place. There's a lot of space. Currently, the population of the African continent